Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today I had the misfortune of using my own Twitter account to see that the Gaming Revolution was complaining about Modern Warfare, and one of the things that came out of his tweet was people talking about the tactical sprint in Modern Warfare, and, well, I have to make a video about it, because I love the tactical sprint in Modern Warfare, plus a feature in Advanced Warfare that I forgot to mention in my recent Advanced Warfare retrospective. It's weird, I've revisited Advanced Warfare 3 times now for a video, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned this small feature. If I have, I don't remember mentioning it, but either way, Advanced Warfare had a feature where you could double tap your reload button and reload faster, but you lose the leftover ammo in your magazine. So if you have a 30-round magazine, you fire 1 bullet, and you do the quick reload, you lose 29 bullets. They do not go back into your reserve. Modern Warfare allows you to double tap your sprint button in order to initiate a tac sprint, which increases your sprint out time, which is not exactly ideal, but it gives you a noticeable boost of speed, especially when using certain handguns or melee weapons. You move very fast while tac sprinting. Using the perk Double Time will double your tac sprinting duration and allow you to move 30% faster while crouched. And I thought I'd make a video talking about why I like this, and while you might think, boom, we know you're gonna mention your patented flavor argument, you betcha. For those of you unaware about my flavor argument, it's the idea that even the most little minute things like doors opening and closing or being destructible, mounting, fire select switches are little bits of flavor that add to the overall experience. Really well detailed guns or animations or reloads I also consider to be flavor. It makes it feel like the game has a little bit more going on under the surface. It makes it feel a little bit more immersive, not necessarily through realism, but certainly through interactability from the player. My theory is the more things you can interact with and decide, the more immersive and better the game feels. The more straightforward and simple a shooter is, the more my attention span drops off, so I, just basically define the little things that I enjoy. Flavor. Maybe not the most substantial part of the meal, but they add to it. If cheeseburgers were just protein and carbs, I don't think we'd be ordering them as much as we do over here in the States. You eat a cheeseburger because you're hungry, you keep ordering cheeseburgers because they taste good. And I think when a video game gives you more options and more variety and little things that affect the sandbox, not all the time, but enough to make it feel less repetitive, then yeah, I feel like that's what you come back for. Now, I'm not just rambling, all of this is to serve my point, but one of the reasons I think Battle Royale has gotten increasingly popular is that compared to traditional 6v6 multiplayer matches, there is a wider variety of things that can happen. There's a wider variety of things in a Battle Royale game's sandbox. The play space is bigger, there's usually more gadgets, there's more stakes, there's just more emotional investment, as well as just more things to interact with. Battlefield capitalized on this heavily in their Only in Battlefield promotional things, basically saying, hey look, our sandbox is so messy and so complex and has so many toys for you to play with. Possibilities are endless, and you are going to have these amazing Only in Battlefield moments more often than you would in any other game. And that's just what happens when you have a more dynamic sandbox. DICE didn't figure out anything magical when they did that, they just gave players more options. They sprinkled in a lot more flavor, and that flavor eventually takes shape into a bit of substance. And this is, I know, a bunch of jargon, but what I'm saying is, if there is a turret on an FPS map that nobody uses, and it's stupid, and you go the entire life cycle of the game without using it, but then one match, you actually decide to grab the turret and 5 enemies walk in front of you and you kill all 5 of them with that turret. In my opinion, that's a substantial addition to the game. Those little areas and weapons and gadgets and gizmos and bits of depth that you maybe don't interact with every time, but because they're there, they add a potential option for you in the sandbox. I think I've said this a lot recently, but Halo does this way better than Call of Duty and even Battlefield to some degrees, in my opinion. Everything in the sandbox can counterplay something else, or is hard countered by something else, and so you have this really fun game of rock, paper, scissors going on all of the time. But right now you're thinking, boom, this video is supposed to be about tac sprinting and quick reloading. Why are you talking about Battlefield moments and doors and mounting? Shut up about your stupid flavor. Well, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the reasons I like tack sprinting or quick reloading, tack sprinting and quick reloading adds a level of depth into something that you were doing on autopilot for years. In Advanced Warfare, if you spammed your X button to reload, you were punished for it if you didn't actually want to initiate a quick reload, you were just spamming to be silly. Advanced Warfare punished COD players for button mashing their reload button, but also gives you a perk if you want to get your gun reloaded quicker. I mean, if you only have like 4 bullets in your magazine, why not quick reload? But if you have 29 bullets in your magazine, you might not want a quick reload. Using Scavenger is a lot more appealing when you're losing half your magazine by quick reloading, so you can get your reloads off quicker, use Scavenger, and collect ammo to sort of balance out the ammo loss that you're sort of enduring by your constant spamming of the reload key. So, this adds a bit of depth into an otherwise autopilot situation, and the same goes for tack sprinting in Modern Warfare. You have to ask yourself in Modern Warfare, when do I use my tack sprint? Some people use it off their spawn all the time, some people just initiate it constantly and it ruins their sprint out time. I caught so many people in Modern Warfare tack sprinting because that little bit of depth that comes from adding a tack sprint that hurts your sprint out time really confused people and really threw them under the bus to a good degree. Yeah, if you're silly, you're gonna tack sprint into a building, but if you're smart, you'll sprint into the building normally, not initiating tack sprint. And then maybe if you start taking damage, that's when you initiate the tack sprint. That's when you click in your stick, that's when you hit shift again, and that is how you get out of the situation, because you start taking damage, you don't know where from. That is when you use it. Saving your tack sprint for that moment you're under fire from a distance, or the moment a grenade lands near you, is a bit of depth and tactics that really hasn't been in COD before. And I think it's aptly named Tactical Sprint. Tactical means to plan something out before doing it, and Tactical Sprint basically means you need to plan when you use this. Yeah, you might use it off spawn to get back into the action a little bit quicker, but it's better to use it in those situations where there's a grenade at your feet or you're taking damage. You don't want to constantly be using it into buildings and whatnot. So many people would tack sprint at me with their gun pointed up in the air, and they were easy targets. I mean, that was the other brilliant thing about tack sprinting. It was very obvious when an enemy player was tack sprinting. It wasn't just a faster sprint, it was an entirely new animation. So when you saw somebody doing that, you knew that their sprint out time was going to be increased and that they were going to be a much easier target. If you want to negate that, then yeah, run a stippled grip and a 5mm laser. Similarly to how in Advanced Warfare you can run Scavenger if you're going to just keep quick reloading all the time. The reason I'm making this video is that so many Call of Duty players absolutely fundamentally reject mechanics like this, and I feel like the Call of Duty series is going to lack depth and going to lack flavor because of it. It's going to lack this level of mechanical depth, which is so simple yet so effective at turning an autopilot action into something that you're considering more often. Suddenly the sprint button or the reload button means a lot more than it did earlier. So many COD players reject this or say that it's trying to be like a milsim or too realistic, when that's not the case at all. And also, anybody who called the tack sprint clunky, you're absolutely incorrect. The tack sprint was a very smooth transition. It was a great animation. I think when people say it's clunky, they mean that it hurts my sprint out time. Yeah, it's called tactical sprint, not do it all the time sprint. The fact that Call of Duty players see mechanics like this and they don't like them and they want them to be not improved but instead removed tells me that this series is constantly going to be in the middle between people that want the series to have bits of flavor and meaningful depth into moment-to-moment engagements and people that just want the most simplistic experience possible because anything else is copying Rainbow Six Siege. The latter example, honest to God, is missing 2 letters out of the alphabet, and I swear to God, it's I and Q. I hope we see quick reloading and tack sprint return in Call of Duty in the future because, again, I like little bits of depth sprinkled into otherwise autopilot mundane actions. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.